Good afternoon from the Second Age of Reason. There is a debt problem in America. Specifically, I'm talking about college, tuition debt, college, whatever debt you need for going to school. This has been sort of a fiasco, scandalous thing, because students and parents of students have been sold on the idea that to do well, you have to have a good college degree. So you have to go to college, and then you'll get a good job. And then the price of college education has been going up markedly over the years. So they say, well, get a student loan. So you go to school, get your student loan, pays for your school, your education, you get your degree, you go out and get a job, and pay off your student loan. It sounds so simple, but it's not working out that way for a lot of people. If it had been, why is there $1 trillion of debt? $1 trillion. Do you know how much that is? $1 trillion is a million millions. So if there was 1 million students, each of them would be $1 million in debt. That doesn't seem quite right. But if there was 10 million students, each of them would be $100,000 in debt, which is probably like a typical mortgage, which most people take 30 years to pay off. Well, if you get out of college at age 22, and it takes you 30 years to pay off that college debt, you won't have it paid off until you're 52. And then, most companies will make you retire by the time you're 62, or 65, or maybe 70. So then if you were going to get a good job, pay off that debt first, and then after 30 years, you could finally buy yourself a house. But those are also on a 30-year mortgage, and you know what? Ain't enough time. So there's a problem with the system. The reason it's been working is because it helps the colleges get paid. You have student, funder, college. Now, if you're one of the lucky ones, or the student has the money, or the parents have saved for them, that's lucky, but they're not part of the student debt crisis of this $1 trillion thing of debt that cannot be dismissed by means of bankruptcy. What happens is sometimes when money is too easy to come by, it's too easy to spend, and nobody realizes how hard it is to pay back. So the school gets paid right away. Well, the student gets his education right away, which is good. The school gets paid right away, which is good. But the bank in the middle, or whatever it is, the funder in the middle, says, you don't have to pay me right away. Since it's so much money, you can just pay me over time with interest. And so this has set up this cycle where, oh, just get a bigger loan, and, well, you can pay for it with either bigger payments, not likely, or a longer term, which is more likely. But what happens is, when you do that, is you may have problems with your credit rating. And employers are starting to look at credit rating. So you might not be able to get that good job with your fresh new degree out of college. So then you're stuck unemployed, and the payments are due. And as you miss payments, your credit rating gets even worse and worse. And then you can't even pay it back then. So Congress has been mulling about it for a bit. And there's the Democrats and the Republicans. And the Republicans say, well, let's crank up the interest rate so we can profit from it too. I hope they will consider what that means, and that if there are truly 10 million students, each one $100,000 in debt, and you're going to stick it to them with a 6 or 8% interest rate, you've pretty well gone the route of the Whig Party then. And the Democrats are saying, well, maybe we should have the students pay the same interest rate that the primary banks pay from the Federal Reserve, like maybe 0.5%, half of a percent. I think that's a very generous offer. The one I think proposing it is Senator Elizabeth Warren. She's the one who really grills the regulators good on C-SPAN, if you ever watch that. She's got some good points about that, and she's still, it's a deal for the students because they have a little ease in their payment schedule, and it's a special deal for the banks or the funders that you're still going to get paid. Because I know my opinion is I would just simply cancel the entire student debt thing and restructure the system. I would restructure the system so that there would be a public option to higher education, that you could become an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor, anything. I would have at a publicly funded school, just like public schools, and it would be covered by the state. It would just be you show up, you do the work, you get your grades, and then you have a degree. And the courses taught at the public option college would be those that are needed in society most at the moment, whether it's engineers or nurses or whatever happens to be, you know, the thing that people are hiring for. So that's what I would do. Cancel the debt and make college, like public education, free through, you know, K to 16. And if you still want to go to a fancy school like Harvard or Yale or something like that, you still could. I would allow for private schools to do their private thing. Because most people that go to those schools already have funding through their family or via the corporation. So that would be my take on it. So my hat's off a little bit to Elizabeth Warren for trying. I don't think she's going to be successful. But I think the student loan crisis isn't going to go away. And how they handle it now will be seen manifest in the next few elections. So that's all I have to say for that subject today. Till later, we'll be seeing you.